Hey everyone, it's Jason. I've been thinking a lot about the state of the Tekken community lately, especially in light of Season 2 and the reaction it sparked. Let me say this up front, it's okay to have feedback, it's okay to dislike a patch. But what we saw with S2, that wasn't just feedback, it was a wave of doomsaying, toxicity, and outrage that actively hurt the game and the people who love it. EVO Japan proved the narrative wrong. Defense wasn't dead. New moves didn't ruin the game. The best players in the world won using skill, adaptation, and yes, strong defensive play. That's the real story here. But instead of talking about that, we got stuck in a loop. A loud group pushed negativity, and it spread like wildfire. The noise drowned out real progress, and it's time to call it what it is, the S2 overreaction. Let's begin with the biggest myth. Defense is dead. Really? Because EVO Japan said the exact opposite. Watch those matches again. What wins games? Sidesteps, whiff punishes, spacing, baiting heat activations, patience. That's defense. That's Tekken. Players like me didn't win by spamming or gimmicks. They won with knowledge, discipline, and timing. If anything, Season 2 forced players to learn real defense instead of relying on old option selects like Tekken 7 style KBD escapes. But what happened? A negative narrative dropped first because negativity gets clicks. Clicks make cash. And content creators saw early outrage perform well, and suddenly defense is gone became the gospel before anyone had time to analyze, adapt, and reflect. No breathing room, no time to play things out, no tournament data, just perception. And EVO proved it false. Many aspects of it false. That's how the S2 overreaction started. Now let's talk about the new moves. Season 2 gave each character 2-3 new tools. Of course they were strong. That's the point. If a restaurant introduces a new dish, it's not bland. Ugh. It's flavorful. It's exciting. Sure, too much sugar can ruin a meal, but so can plain oatmeal. Ugh. And here's the thing. Those powerful new moves, they didn't even change the EVO results. The players who won didn't win because of buffs. They won with spacing, with punishment, knowledge checks, experience, and defense. If those moves didn't impact the competitive meta, how did they ruin Tekken? They didn't. That's more S2 overreaction. Another idea I keep hearing, weakness defines a character's identity. Since when? Yes, flaws are part of design, absolutely, but so are strengths. Hurong's pressure, King's command throws, Raven's evasiveness, Jin's mix-ups, these define character playstyles too. But again, the first loud take becomes the accepted truth. The community agrees. Really? Or are we just repeating what sounded clever the first time we heard it? I mean, really think about that. That's what we call a specious take. Sounds smart, but it doesn't hold up under pressure. And unfortunately, the FGC stopped pressure testing its ideas. We didn't ask, does this break the game? We jumped to, burn it down. And when that happened, the toxicity just followed, just a wave of it came in. People joked about assaulting devs at the next combo breaker. Harada and Murray were bombarded with hate. Devs who've given decades to this franchise are being disrespected in ways that are embarrassing and should embarrass us all. Worse, some content creators just let it slide, or they made clicks for it to make money. Leaders stayed quiet. What used to be critique turned into entitlement. Feedback turned into rage. Nuance got drowned out. Let me be clear. Let me be really clear on this. Feedback is not the problem, but the tone is. Season 2 had real issues. Jack, makes some noise moves. Paul's unblockables. Yes, those needed tuning. But instead of saying, this needs work, We screamed, "You ruined the game!" 2 or 3 moves per character out of hundreds of moves, each character. And the response was declared Tekken unplayable because of a few moves? That's not a balanced critique, that's overreaction. And now, some want to bring back Tekken 7 style KBD dominance because it's a one-size-fits-all defensive solution. But that's not skillful defense, that's an option select, that's automation. It's lets people avoid the hard work of learning matchups, reading pressure, or exploiting their tools. And this comes after EVO proved defense mastery is still the path to victory. We have proof, we're ignoring it. That's the S2 overreaction. Where do we go from here? We call it what it was. We call it the S2 overreaction. A small number of valid concerns, absolutely, blown out of proportion by bad takes, bad tone, and bad behavior. Not because feedback was wrong, but because how we delivered it was wrong. We didn't give it patch time to breathe. We didn't watch the meta unfold. We didn't let high-level play speak for itself. We panicked and dragged the whole community into it. Now we're seeing the cost. Lower morale, fewer players, a fractured vibe. Meanwhile, the game, it's still great. Defense works, creativity thrives. EVO proved fundamentals are alive and well. So let's move forward. Let's be louder with reason than others are with rage. Let's remind each other why Tekken is one of the deepest, most rewarding fighting games of all time. Let's rebuild because the S2 overreaction doesn't have to define this chapter. If you're a content creator, a pro, or a scene leader, your voice matters. And yeah, you might get called a shill, you might lose a few likes, but you'll gain trust, you'll lead with integrity, you help create a community that builds instead of burns. Tekken 8 isn't dead, it's evolving. And there's still room for all of us if we bring feedback and positivity. Now that's what I wrote, and I just want to kind of ad-lib here at the end. I think what was really disappointing for me as a fan of Tekken, a fan of the FGC, a fan of a lot of content creators, is how many content creators really leaned in to make some money on negative clicks. That was pretty surprising, and I don't blame them to a degree. Because if you come out as a content creator and you go against the mob, you go against the internet, then you're called a shill. I don't care if you call me a shill. You know, I have enough independent thought to call it how I see it. I don't have to worry about making subs or likes or dislikes. I don't have to worry about making the devs happy. I'm just a player, just a fan. And so I wanted to give my 2 cents because what I've been seeing on the level of toxicity, specifically in the Tekken community, I've never seen it so bad. As an OG player myself, and I don't know if some of you OGs remember Chinaman, an old Tekken player. I always remember what he told me about the OGs back in the day when I first started playing in the late 1990s, tournament-wise. I played Tekken since its birth, but didn't get into the tournaments till about 97, 98, 99. And I always remember what Chinaman said. He goes, you know, the difference between a Tekken community and these other communities, if we run into something difficult, we just find a way around it. And that was a very positive outlook at the time. And I think we can take some of that positivity. Yes, absolutely, provide feedback. But you can still be positive about the game. And why? Because we do have devs that listen. They put an emergency patch out. They're jumping through hoops right now trying to make us happy. That reason alone is to stay positive because there's so many games out there, so many other fans of different games that wish they had the devs that we have. We're lucky that we have Harada, Michael Murray, the entire Tekken team. And so I just ask for everybody for a little bit more positivity. Absolutely, provide feedback, but you can provide it while staying positive about the game's future. That's it.